So occasionally I like to jump on the internet and go looking around at different things. I throw in some keywords on Google and go down those wormholes and check things out. And every now and again I come across something I really like, and I'll print it out and keep it around for a little while, put it in my Rolodex up in my brain, and occasionally I'll throw it up on my wall on my workbench and thumbtack up there, just so every time I see it, it kind of reinvigorates the thought that I had when I first saw it, that man, I really want to make something, like this. I really like this idea. So I've had this particular picture up for about 8 months or so, I guess. And one day my wife comes walking through the garage, because that's where I do all my stuff, and she happened to walk over to the bench, which she doesn't do all too often, and saw it up there and just was like, oh my gosh, I really like that. And I was like, well, that's why I put it up there. I really like that too. She said, well, you need to make it. And she doesn't ask me to make specific things very often, so I generally just kind of do what I'm going to do. And so that kind of pushed me to go ahead and get my act together and draw something up to make this. So as you'll see at the end of this, what I come up with really doesn't look anything like what the picture is you just saw, other than they're both suns and they're both made out of wood. So, but that's kind of how I go. I start off with an idea, then my OCD will kick in and I'll definitely end up making it my own. And that's kind of how I like to do. I just like to have an initial idea and then just kind of let it take me where it goes. At first it used to kind of scare me a little. Like I used to think, oh, I need a hard set of plans. And sometimes you do. But with art type projects, they just kind of become what they become. And that's the really great thing about it. So here's what I've come up with. And see my drawing here. And then I go ahead and cut her out, and this is what I end up with. A la Frank Makes. If you don't know who that is, go look him up. He's awesome. So this is just pine, plain old pine. Now this is like grade A. There's no knots or anything like that. So you pay a little more for it. Just bought it at the big box store. I was happy to be able to get all my pieces out of 2 boards, so that was pretty nice. And so I have 3 slats per cutout piece. I really wanted the grain to pop out, even though I'm going to be staining it. I wanted the grain of the wood to be part of, what you're seeing, what you're looking at. Now I'm going to cut all these sun rays out on the bandsaw. I'll just show you one of them because it's kind of a rinse and repeat process. Here's the sun being cut out on a scroll saw. So here's how it looks all cut out and put back together. and let the shaping begin. Though I wanted pretty tight joints here, I was going for a tight a fit as I could keep it. Turned out to be not that bad at all. So what's funny is I had gotten to this point and I stopped for a couple days because I still hadn't decided exactly how I wanted to proceed here. So I finally had to make some executive decisions, and here's what I came up with. So here's separating those pieces on the scroll saw. It is now time for final sanding. Using 220 grit on my palm sander, so there's no shaping really, it's just easing edges over, taking away any hard transitions, smoothing things out, making everything look like it's supposed to be there. So I'm pretty happy with the fit on everything. It turned out pretty well, better than I actually thought it would. So now we've come to my weak spot, which is applying stain. I was real concerned about getting a consistent color throughout the piece, so I stole my wife's kitchen timer and was kind of laughing at myself because I probably took it a little more serious than I had to, but I timed everything to where the stain was on each piece just about the same amount of time. But in the end, it turned out super consistent, so I was very happy with how it turned out. So I decided to apply the lacquer finish to each piece individually, so I just have to apply some paste wax once assembled. So I don't often cut full sheets of plywood on my table saw, so I had to move it over to make a little room. And we're just going to cut her down a couple inches oversized. So I didn't record it, but I painted the backboard black with spray paint. So I'm using a super glue made by DAP called Rapid Fuse. It sets in about 30 seconds, and I've used it for all sorts of projects like this, and it works really well. I've never had any problems with it. So I'm just cutting her down to her final dimensions, getting her ready to frame up. So here it is after being cut to dimension, and I have it upright for the first time, like it's going to be on the wall, and I'm super excited because I think it's turning out really cool. This is some 1x2 pine I'm using for the frame, which I will cut everything to fit, and then I'm gonna stain it before I assemble it. So as bad as I am at staining, I'm gotten pretty good at a finish. My choice is lacquer, which for some reason I didn't show spraying the lacquer. And what I'm doing here is after I've applied the lacquer and it's had a chance to dry, I go back with steel wool and 4/0 steel wool and some paste wax, and I'm doing it here as well on the sun. And after you let it dry for about 20 minutes, and then you come back with a clean cloth and you can just buff it as much as you want and you'll get a super deep shine. It's really incredible. And here's where I buff it out. I like buying the flour sack towels from Walmart. They're actually in the kitchen section. They don't leave a lint, so they're really nice for all sorts of things, and they're, you know, somewhat inexpensive. And just about the final step, I'm going to tack the frame together and get her ready to hang. And here she is in all her glory. I guess I never mentioned earlier, I was just thinking about it. It's about 5 feet wide by 2 feet tall. It's pretty big and it's fairly heavy. So here's where we ended up hanging it up inside, and we're super happy with it. It turned out really beautiful. I hope you enjoyed watching me make this, and leave me a comment, tell me what you think. And hey, maybe even hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.